Hi, I'm Lenny. Welcome to the continuing adventures of Lenny Wanser. In this video, I'm going to discuss Season 1, Episode 24 of the Twilight Zone, titled Long Live Walter Jameson. The original air date for this episode was March 18th, 1960. What I do in my Twilight Zone videos is a deep dive of the episode. So if you have never ever seen this episode of the Twilight Zone and you don't want it ruined for you, you're not going to want to watch this video at this time. Right when the episode begins, we are at a university and we're introduced to Professor Walter Jameson, who has the ability to speak of the past as if it's the present. Sitting in and observing the class today is Professor Sam Kittredge, who is suspicious of Jameson because he seems to have access to knowledge that wouldn't be accessible in any history book. After the class is over and all the students have been dismissed, Sam invites Walter over to his place for dinner. Close to 7 o'clock that night, we see Walter leaving his house, leaving his residence, and he has to go very far to travel. He's actually just going directly across the street because that's where Professor Sam Kittredge lives, right across the street from him. And as he's leaving the front stoop of his house, we see an elderly lady hiding in the shadows behind a tree watching Walter. Once Walter is inside the Kittredge home, we learn that Walter is actually engaged to Sam's 30-year-old daughter, Susanna. After the dinner has been consumed, Sam sends his daughter Susanna upstairs to study, and Sam and Walter sit down to continue a game of chess that looks like it's already been in progress, something that they started a while ago and that they're still playing upon. As they play chess, Sam casually asks Walter, how old is he? To which Walter replies that he's 44 years old. Sam retorts that Walter would actually be 51 years old based off the age that Walter put down on the application for the university job when he first started. Sam has noticed over the last 12 years that he has visibly grown older. You can see it reflected in his face and in his body, while Walter hasn't aged a single day since the two of them have met. With all these questions based around the concept of age, Walter asks Sam, what are you getting at? What are you trying to ask me? And Sam goes over to his bookcase and pulls out a history book based on the Civil War. Within this history book, Sam points to a picture of a general skeleton that was taken over 100 years ago from that moment in time. And General Skeleton looks exactly like Walter Jameson, down to the mole on the left side of his face and a ring that both of the gentlemen wear on their fingers. Sam pleads with Walter to tell him the truth and to tell him his real age. Is he the man in the picture? And Walter reveals that that is him. And we learn that his real age is over 2,000 years old. Can you imagine what that birthday cake would look like with 2,000 candles on it to celebrate that? Lord, good Lord, that's a lot of candles. Woo! Sam inquires with Walter how he has cheated death. And we learn that Sam is scared of dying. Walter tells Sam that there's nothing that he can do for him. There's no way that he can help him escape death. Walter actually confesses to Sam that every night he pulls a revolver from his desk drawer and he tries to pull the trigger, but he's too much of a coward to do it. Sam doesn't want Walter to marry his daughter, justifiably so. And with him saying this is when Susanna walks into the conversation and asks why not. Walter takes this opportunity to tell Susanna that Sam believes that Walter is too old for him to marry her, which is partially the truth, but not the whole truth to the situation. Susanna replies that that's ridiculous. That shouldn't be an issue. And Walter, again, seizing upon the moment, tells Susanna that that's fantastic and that they should leave tonight, run away tonight, and get married. For her to go upstairs, pack her things, and he'll be back for her in 15 minutes. This is all done right in front of Sam, who has already expressed his desire for the two not to marry. That's some cold-hearted gangster stuff right there. As Susanna goes upstairs to pack her belongings, Sam tells Walter that he is going to tell Susanna the truth, to tell her what he has just learned. Walter gleefully tells him to go ahead to do so, because she's never going to believe him. And come tomorrow, Sam's not going to even believe it himself. Walter goes back to his own house right across the street, and he goes to his study. As he sits there, he pulls out the gun from the desk drawer, and he contemplates going through with it. But he doesn't, and puts the gun on top of his desk. From the darkness of the study, we hear a voice say, "Hello, Tommy." And it turns out it's the elderly lady that we saw watching Walter from the shadows before. And at the moment, she is sitting in a chair within his study. This is Mrs. Bowen, wife to Tommy Bowen, who left her decades ago. Mrs. Bowen came across the engagement announcement of Walter to Susanna in the newspaper, and she recognized the man that she saw within that picture. And she had to see with her own eyes, even though that he didn't age, if it was Tommy Bowen. After denying it all, Walter finally relents and he tells her the truth, that it is him. Yes, it's Tommy. Mrs. Bowen tells him that he can't marry Susanna because he is hers. Mrs. Bowen grabs the gun that is on top of the desk and she points it at Walter. And she tells him, "Tommy, it's wrong. You can't go on hurting people." And she shoots him. Sam, who hears the gunshot from his living room across the street, runs over to the Jameson house and goes into the study, where he finds Walter wounded from the gunshot. And as he's there, Walter begins to age very rapidly and begins to wither away. Susanna, who also heard the gunshot from upstairs while she was packing, very delayed though, I might add, comes running over to the Jameson house as well. By the time that Susanna has entered the room, all that remains of Walter is his empty clothes on the floor, piles of dust, and the ring that he once wore. And this is how the episode of Long Live Walter Jameson comes to an end. Rating time. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best score, I can give Long Live Walter Jameson gets an 8. If you think this video is worthy of a thumbs up, please feel free to do so. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see others just like it, all you got to do is hit the YouTube logo down in the corner, and you'll get a notification anytime I upload a new video to the channel. As always, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss these things I love. I greatly appreciate that. Please be safe, be careful, and I'll talk to you soon.